All right. It says it's now streaming live. So we're all set. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Matt, why don't you just bring us up to speed on the bill? This is the same bill we passed last year, right?
So there are some differences. So I'll go through those first. They're very minor. The first would be that certain definitions were added, but those definitions are cross-referenced to the International Swimming Pool and Spa Code. There appears to be some general non-substantive restructuring. There was also a provision that was added that the subtitle does not abrogate or alter the authority of the Maryland Department of Health to enforce the Maryland Swimming Pool and Spa standards for the design and construction, including additions, alterations, and repairs of public swimming pools. And then the bill this year removes a prohibition in the original bill, HB 109 from 2021, that prohibited the Department of Labor from adopting a modification of the code that is more stringent than the requirement in the International Swimming Pool and Spa Code.
Okay.
So that's the bill as introduced. There's also a sponsor amendment that was sent out. I believe maybe Delegate Taras had a question.
I'm just wondering if you could say those last two a little. You got me confused on the last two.
Sure, I can repeat those. So a provision was added to the bill that the subtitle, because this bill structures everything into a new subtitle, does not abrogate or alter the authority of the Maryland Department of Health
Okay.
To enforce the standard for public pools.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And then the other thing I mentioned was that this removed a prohibition that was in HB 109 of 2021. So it's removing language this year that would have prohibited the Department of Labor from adopting a modification to the code that is more stringent than the requirement as drafted in the International Swimming Pool and Spa Code. So the department could go beyond what is in the ISPSC.
Is that then changed in an amendment?
No, that's in the language of the bill as adopted. I can look quickly for the location of that. Just bear with me for 1 second.
I guess I'm confused by the amendment then because it says without modification.
So yes, there is an amendment with regard to alterations and repairs. I just hadn't gotten to that portion yet.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
Yes, so to clarify, I was discussing changes to the bill between the 2021 version and the bill before you now in 2022. And then I can go into a discussion of the amendment as well.
Okay. Any questions about the differences between last year and this year as before we talk up the amendment? Okay, well, let's go discuss the amendment from the sponsor.
Okay. So there is an amendment. The number that you'll be looking for is HB 0303-753822-1. And this combines two sponsor amendments and adds one technical correction that I believe needs to be made to the bill to correct a drafting error. So the first amendment would require, which is one of the sponsor amendments, would require the Department of Labor to adopt certain requirements applicable to additions, alterations, or repairs as stated in the International Swimming Pool and Spa Code. Now, I will just mention that this language was actually included in the original version of the bill that was passed by the House in 2021. It was struck in the reintroduction, and it appears the sponsors requesting through the amendment to put that back into the bill. And it's consistent with other provisions in the bill as drafted. Amendment number 2 is the one I was referring to that corrects a drafting error. So if you look to the date at page 6, line 7, I'll give everybody a minute to get there. As I was comparing the copies of the bill, it appears that this date should have been updated to be in line with the effective date of the bill, which is October 1, 2022. And it was consistent with the effective date in 2021. It looks just to have not been updated as part of the drafting process. So what's being done here is changing this from October 1, 2021 to October 1, 2022.
So, Matt, would it be correct to say that with the sponsors' amendments, this is aligned with what was passed by the House previously, except for the date changes?
Well, there is still the portion about removing the prohibition generally about conditions being more stringent.
Okay,
All
right.
Yes.
Okay. Delegate Terrazza, you have a question?
That's what I don't understand. This is because it says the department shall adopt am I confused? The department shall adopt as part of the standards, the provisions of the International Swim Pool at Spa Code relating to the requirements for the additions, alterations, and repairs without modification.
I think that's the state agency that's doing that. My understanding is that this is the local, each county can add additional when they.
The counties, I'm sorry. So the state won't be modifying it at all.
Right. The state will say, this is what the net standard is, but the counties can add, make it more stringent. That's what that amendment does. Right, Matt?
Well, and generally the amendments proposed are clarifying that the applicability of on the whole, the applicability of the standards is only to new construction. In fact, there are several places in the bill that state
Only what?
New construction.
New construction.
New swimming pools.
Right, but that's can you just explain what that sentence means then?
About alterations and
Yeah.
repairs. So yes, as discussed last year when this language was added, so it required that for minor additions, alterations, or repairs, the changes would only need to meet the standards in place at the time the original pool or spa equipment was installed. But if there's a more substantial addition, alteration, or repair, the new equipment would have to meet the revised standards for construction and safety under the ISPSC.
Okay.
So if you're doing a replacement of a whole system, it would have to be upgraded to the current standards. But if you're doing a small repair, you would only be held to the standard that was in place when the pool went into effect. I believe that was language that was worked on with members of the PHTA and ICC. And there are representatives from PHTA and ICC on the call.
That's fine.
Okay.
I'm
Any
good.
other members have questions? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to stop you, Delegate Trouser. Are you finished?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Any other members have questions or concerns? Can I have a motion on the amendments?
There was one more amendment that I didn't get a chance to get to.
Oh,
And that was amendment number 3, which again clarifies the application of this act with regard to swimming pools and spas that are built before a certain date, which is that June 1, 2023 date.
All right. Okay. Is there a motion on the amendments?
So moved.
A second? I'll second. All those in favor of the amendments signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say no so I can hear you on the amendments. The amendments pass. The bill is before us as amended. Any discussion? Concerns? We have a motion, please?
Move approval.
Is there a second? I'll take this. I'll make the second, just for the sake of moving things along. We'll take a roll call, Matt.
Okay. Start with first person on my screen is Delegate Weibel.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I do appreciate the folks from the industry speaking with me this morning, but I'm still going to vote no on this.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Delegate Terrazza.
Yes.
Okay. Delegate Jalisi.
Yes.
Okay. Delegate Prettyman.
Yes.
Okay. And finally, Subcommittee Chair Healy.
Yes.
Okay.
That concludes our business today. So we'll meet again as needed, and we'll be looking at bills as they come in. We'll try to keep the meeting short because most times we're right behind motor vehicle on the same day, and they usually have a heavy schedule. So we try to keep the schedule light, and we'll be doing a lot of local government, local courtesy kind of bills as we get closer to crossover. Any questions? Okay, thank you very much. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you. Welcome, Roxanne.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yes.